We have some major altcoin movements happening in the market today. Going to be taking a look into what this could mean for the altcoin markets as a whole, as well as the key indicator I am paying attention to for the next couple of days that could be critical for crypto. I am talking about Bitcoin because that is still the driver of this market. If Bitcoin pumps, that is good for the altcoins, and if Bitcoin dumps, that's very bad for the altcoins. And what I'm looking at right now are some mixed signals for Bitcoin, which includes some divergence from the monthly time frame down to the 3-day time frame. I'm talking about bearish divergence. Those are going to be your bearish signals to be paying attention to. However, Bitcoin has broken out of a falling wedge pattern on the daily time frame I've been talking about for the past couple of days, still bullishly retesting that breakout right now. So we're coming very close to a resolution on what Bitcoin will be doing, which would send shockwaves to the rest of the crypto markets. So this is the time to buckle up, and in my opinion, to be careful until Bitcoin actually gets a clean breakout of the 110K all-time highs level. We're also going to be taking a look into some altcoins in this market, which will include Stellar, which has done some pretty significant movement today, Onyxcoin, and Keeta, KTA token. See what has gone on in these markets, what their new setups are, and their new price targets. So let's dive right into some news first before going into the charts in more detail. All right, first piece of news here is by News BTC. Elon Musk drops Epstein peanut bomb. Peanut coin explodes 10%. I think this is some pretty interesting news, but you know, I'm not gonna get too much into it. I'm not trading peanut at the moment, but I think this sounds like some pretty good rumor news. If you guys have some time and read into it, it might be entertaining, but not something that really concerns me, and I don't think it's going to affect the rest of the crypto markets very much, if at all. Next piece here is going to be by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin analyst warns time running out for another Bitcoin parabolic rally. In some sense, I kind of agree what's in this headline here. I do think that time is running out for Bitcoin to make a big move here, because it is running within this pretty tight range for the past couple of days, but we did have a breakout here. So let's see if this breakout actually is actually able to go through and get a clean breakout above the 110K level, or will it be another flop? Okay. Now, my opinion on this market is that I'm still bullish on this market. I still have quite a bit of longs, including on Bitcoin and quite a bit of these altcoins here. So my opinion here is still bullish, even though we have some mixed signals, including bearish divergence. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next piece of news here. This is by News BTC. Ethereum price action signals momentum shift. Bitcoin sleeps and Ethereum moves. This is not very uncommon to see, especially if there are a trend happening in Bitcoin, and the recent trend for Bitcoin is bullish. And when Bitcoin makes a move, I usually see that it consolidates and the altcoins, including Ethereum, catches up, and that's what we're seeing in the markets right now. All right, next piece of news here. Cointelegraph. Bitcoin gets highly favorable cues as the DXY, which is the dollar strength index, sets 21-year weakness record. Now, I have not been following the DXY lately, but I do know that it has some correlation between that and the risk on assets like stocks and, of course, crypto. But I don't think the correlation is as high as looking at the stock market, which I pay attention to, particularly the S&P 500 futures, with Bitcoin. So I have not really been keeping track of the DXY lately. If you guys have any insights on that, feel free to share it in the comment section below with the rest of us. All right, let's come back here to Bitcoin chart real quick because this is very important. Now, I did talk about some mixed signals that I think you guys should be paying attention to, including a breakout here, which is bullish. This is on the daily time frame. Okay, if this breakout does not flop, I do think it has a pretty good chance of it pulling through, and I'll explain why. If this actually gets a clean breakout, the target for Bitcoin here is it's right underneath 120K here. And why is that important? Because if Bitcoin has room to move, that will also give the altcoins room to move. So we are still here. We are still above this breakout here. Okay. So this is important bullish signal. However, we do have some bearish signals that I will mention to you guys. And I have been mentioning to you guys. On the monthly time frame here, we still have that monthly RSI bearish divergence, but we have been running. We have been, the bulls have been pushing through for the past month. Would this be the month where the bulls actually get a strong push here? Now, bearish divergence usually means that there's going to be a pullback coming up, okay? However, there has been exceptions, okay? Namely, if you guys have been around this game for quite some time, December 2020, that big breakouts, that was when monthly RSI divergence, bearish divergence got invalidated and the bears kept pushing through for the next couple of months. Now we also have bearish divergence on the weekly time frame now, okay? Where you have a equal or higher high, in this case equal high on the price action chart, but an equal or lower high on the RSI. That's bearish divergence. Usually means that there's going to be a pullback. However, there also has been an exception, namely back in November, November 2024, where we had that huge weekly candle and it kept pushing through for quite a few weeks before getting a pullback. So, those are some exceptions to be considering. Of course, I think you also have to acknowledge the bearish signals as well to be careful. There is also bearish divergence on the 3-day time frame right now, but it's basically all of that against the breakout of this daily time frame falling wedge. So we're gonna come to a resolution here pretty quick and see which way Bitcoin breaks. I still have my money on the longs, but that is just me, my opinions and speculations only. I could very well be wrong. Of course, it's not financial advice, and you should do your own due diligence. So let's go ahead and come over here to stock market, just very quick. Stock market looking bullish from basically the weekly time frame down to the daily time frame. And why am I saying that is because I don't see weakness signals on the RSI. There is weakness signal on the monthly time frame. However, that also has exceptions on the stock market chart as well. Namely, back in I think even back in December 2020, if we want to go back all the way there. So let's just I'll verify that with you. Okay, I want to back up what I'm saying here. Okay, so let's see here. December 2020, we had a higher high comparing with this high right here. And yep, it just kept going, right? And invalidated it. So, these are mixed signals. There has been exceptions. Of course, also gotta weigh out the risk, right? Nothing in this market is 100%. I kind of gauge the risk along with the proportion of funds I want to be opening positions on. All right, let's go ahead and get to some altcoins here. We're going to be talking about Stellar Lumens first, okay? What's going on with this market? XLM USD. All right. XLM USD here. I talked about this market quite a few days ago. It is actually getting some love today. Okay. Now, what am I seeing here for XLM on a higher time frame? Okay, weekly time frame. Breakout target of this bigger falling wedge pattern, still valid, is going to be about 60 cents price target. Price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. Okay. However, it broke out of this price, out of this falling wedge pattern. Basically did nothing and dragged down for quite a few weeks, down to about 22 cents before getting a breakout here out of another falling wedge pattern, which is a pattern you guys should definitely pay attention to because it's probably the most common pattern that's on the chart here. Now it broke out of this falling wedge pattern, basically to the T, right, of the price target. I had it measured, okay, almost. I think it was right here. So the price target was about 30 cents. It basically got there. Now it's getting a pullback. Okay. Falling wedges tend to break to the upside. Okay, and in this case, it did for both of these scenarios here. What I'm looking at is resistance. Coming at about the range of about 30 cents, 31 cents, because that's the daily 200 SMA, the orange line here. I don't think there's any particular pattern that is forming right now on some of these lower time frames, like the 4-hour time frame, because it has basically gone parabolic, just in the past couple of hours. So that is what I'm seeing for Stellar Lumens. I do see resistance coming in at about 31 cents, where the daily 200 SMA is at. So if you guys want to see more of Stellar Lumens, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll come back here and bring you guys more updates when it consolidates, if it consolidates. So that's basically what I'm seeing. Of course, let's see if Stellar Lumens is actually able to get over the daily 200 SMA, then it's still on its way to the 60 cents price target at this time, because it's still staying above that major breakout there. So that's what I'm seeing. Let's go on to next XCN, Onyxcoin, see what's going on in this market. All right, Onyxcoin. What's going on with XCN here? So I talked about this falling wedge pattern on this weekly time frame. Okay, has not done anything for quite some time. The price target, if it breaks out by this point, would be about 2.5 cents price target for XCN, which is still pretty big. XCN is not exactly a smaller cap coin. Okay, let's zoom in here and see if we can get any more clarity on what's happening here. Okay, daily time frame, falling wedge pattern. It looks like it has actually broken out of this pattern. Quite a bit of resistance above the pattern, including the daily 21, your daily moving averages, daily 200 at about 1.5 cents. Okay, price target out of that smaller falling wedge pattern is going to be about 1.6 cents price target. So about just about a 20% move here for XCN. And that will basically take you to very close to the upper trend line of this bigger falling wedge pattern and see if it could break out of that bigger one. Okay. Now, like I said, something to be looking out for is falling wedges tend to break to the upside. A lot of this is going to depend on what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin starts being volatile again, and especially if it dumps, a lot of these altcoin setups are going to be worthless. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next piece here, which is Keeta, KTA, USD. See what's going on with this market here. All right, so talked about this on the daily time frame. Keeta broke out of this bigger falling wedge pattern. Like I said, it's going to be a very common pattern. You guys should definitely train your eyes to see here. Broke out of this price target is about $1.35. After breaking out of this bigger falling wedge pattern, has formed a smaller one, which it has actually broken out of the past couple of days. And we mentioned this, okay? Price target out of this one would be about 86 cents. Keeta has gone to as far as about 80 cents today. There is the daily 50 SMA that is going to be acting as resistance at about 81 cents. So let's see if Keeta is actually able to go towards its price targets, okay? And even further. So if it actually reaches that price target and if it consolidates, what I would do is I would chart the consolidation pattern and see if I can get any more clarity on if the price action is more likely to be going up or more likely to be pulling back. So that's basically what I'm seeing for Keeta here and the rest of the crypto markets so far. This wraps up for this video, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you guys want to keep seeing any more of these coins.